Hey everyone, this is Zach Randles-Friedman, and this is your Listen Up Girl podcast, your daily rundown of LGBTQ plus headlines that matter with news, culture, and commentary that keep you informed and connected. Today's stories include historic progress for transgender rights, a royal tribute to queer veterans, and some political drama from both sides of the Atlantic. Let's dive into what's making news this Tuesday, October the 28th. Our first stop is New York City, where mayoral race highlights LGBTQ plus legacy. So in New York City, mayoral frontrunner Zoran Mamdani has released a stirring campaign video paying tribute to LGBTQ plus trailblazer Sylvia Rivera, a name synonymous with resilience, activism, and pride. The video recounts how, in the 1970s, queer New Yorkers were pushed to the margins, facing harassment, homelessness, and discrimination. But Sylvia Rivera stood up, often at a great personal cost, to demand dignity for those forgotten by both mainstream society and parts of the gay rights movement itself. Our trans neighbors faced immense cruelty, but in Sylvia Rivera, they found a champion. The tribute positions Sylvia as a guiding spirit for Mamdani's campaign, one focused on housing justice, inclusivity, and protecting the rights of marginalized community. The timing is meaningful. Rivera's legacy continues to inspire activists today, especially among the growing transphobia in politics nationwide. Mamdani's message is clear: progress must be built on remembrance. Very nice. Next, U.S. Virgin Islands makes history on transgender and intersex recognition. In a groundbreaking move, the U.S. Virgin Islands has become the first American territory to formally recognize transgender and intersex residents under the law. Governor Albert Bryan Jr. signed Executive Order 543-2025, which allows people to change their gender markers on their birth certificates and government-issued IDs without unnecessarily medical or legal hurdles. The policy replaces the outdated term sex with gender, aligning with the islands with more than 24 states, plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. During the signing ceremony, Bryan emphasized compassion and fairness. Virgin Islanders have reached out seeking a way to have their documents reflect who they truly are. This executive order provides a fair and compassionate process where none existed before. This comes after lawmakers failed to pass a similar bill last year. Advocates refused to let stand. By taking decisive executive action, the governor has made the territory one of the most affirming places for LGBTQ plus people in the United States. Unlike many mainland states, the Virgin Islands do not restrict gender-affirming care or participate in sports, and they prohibit discrimination based on gender identity. As much of the U.S. moves backwards, the islands are offering a model of progress rooted in human dignity. It's shocking that that's part of the United States and they're actually doing that, but good for them. Next, King Charles unveils memorial honoring LGBTQ plus service members. In the United Kingdom, King Charles unveiled the nation's first ever memorial dedicated to LGBTQ plus members of the armed forces, a powerful gesture of acknowledgement after decades of silence. The memorial, titled An Open Letter, stands at the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire and honors LGBTQ plus service members who were persecuted, dismissed, or imprisoned under the military's former ban on homosexuality. Designed by Norfolk-based art collective Urbanus Academy, the sculpture resembles a crumbled letter etched with fragments of real correspondence, a haunting nod to the letters that were once used as evidence to ruin lives. For many veterans, this day marks long-awaited closure. Prime Minister Keir Starmer praised the installation, saying it stands as a lasting tribute to the bravery and service of these veterans. It's also the first time King Charles has personally taken part in an LGBTQ commemoration, signaling a more inclusive tone from the monarchy. Very nice. I have all these positive, good stories today. But now we're going to go into one that's not so positive. Hate crimes against LGBTQ plus people surge. New data from the Human Rights Campaign paints a grim picture of rising hate across the U.S. In 2024, there were 918 recorded anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes, the highest on record. Nearly half, 48%, targeted transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people. Researchers point to the flood of anti-LGBTQ plus legislation and rhetoric from political leaders as fueling this. HRC's president said, "We are living through an unprecedented backlash. It's not just politics, it's people's lives." Advocacy groups are calling for stronger hate crime enforcement and better education in schools to address the climate of hostility that continues to endanger queer communities nationwide. Next, we have Miami Vice reboot heats up. Hollywood is getting ready to bring the pastel suits back. A new film adaptation of the iconic 1980s drama Miami Vice is officially in development. According to Variety, Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler are in early talks to play the legendary detective duo Ricardo Rico Tubbs and James Sonny Crockett. The reboot will be directed by Joseph Kosinski, best known for Top Gun Maverick and F1. The film promises to preserve the original show's sun-drenched Miami aesthetic, fast cars, sharp suits, and a soundtrack that defined a generation while reimagining it for today's audience. Fans are buzzing about the potential pairing of Jordan and Butler, whose chemistry could reinvent one of the TV's most stylish partnerships for a new era. And the reason why I'm reporting on this story is it's not in my news notes, but they are saying there's going to be an LGBTQ plus element to this new Miami Vice. So let's wait and see. Next, Treasury Secretary faces backlash for soybean farmer remark. Out Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is under fire this week after claiming he's actually a soybean farmer during an interview on ABC's This Week. Bessent made a comment while discussing China's boycott of American soybeans and the economic strain facing U.S. farmers. "I understand the pain," he said. "I'm actually a soybean farmer myself." Critics quickly pounced, calling the statement tone-deaf. Bessent, who is also a hedge fund manager worth millions, was accused of trivializing the hardships faced by rural farmer communities. While some defended him as trying to make a sympathetic connection, others saw it as a sign of growing disconnect between government leaders and everyday Americans. I think he's tone deaf. Next, conservatives split over Trump's king narrative. Conservative commentator Jonah Goldberg is pushing back hard against pro-Trump pundits who claim that the former president can do whatever he wants because he was elected. Writing The Dispatch, Goldberg called the idea anti-constitutional hogwash, taking aim at Trump advisor Stephen Miller, who has argued that Trump has a mandate to govern with near absolute authority. Goldberg, a self-described never-Trumper, warned that such thinking undermines democracy. The almost cultish refusal to understand the point by Trump's apologist is bizarre, he wrote. The debate highlights growing divisions within the conservative movement between traditional constitutionalists and Trump loyalists who see his power as boundless. Scary. Next, Oregon mom fuels trans panic with student walkout. In Oregon, a mother named Shannon Miller has sparked controversy after organizing a student walkout at Roseburg High School to protest a transgender girl's use of the girls' locker room. Miller, a graduate at the same school, used Facebook to rally parents and students, claiming that the students' presence made others feel unsafe. Local LGBTQ plus advocates were quick to condemn the protest, calling it a dangerous act of public shaming. School officials reiterated that trans students was following district policy and state law, both of which the protests the rights of transgender students to use to facilitate matching their gender identity. What began a small-town protest has now drawn national attention, with civil rights groups warning that social media is increasingly being weaponized to target trans kids. Next, we go to federal judge strikes down trans health protections. So finally in Mississippi, a federal judge has struck down a Biden-era rule designed to extend healthcare protections to transgender parents. Judge Louis Garullo Jr., appointed by President George W. Bush, sided with a coalition of 15 Republican-led states that argued the rule exceeded federal authority. The regulation, part of the Affordable Care Act's non-discrimination preventions, sought to ensure that healthcare providers could deny treatment based on gender identity. LGBTQ plus advocates say the ruling leaves many trans parents vulnerable to discrimination and harm. Legal experts expect the decision to be appealed, setting up another round in courts over what should be fundamental question, whether healthcare access applies equally to everyone. So that's a wrap for the Listen Up Girl for Tuesday, October the 28th. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit the follow button, share the show, and keep independent LGBTQ plus journalism alive. Again, I'm Zach Randles-Friedman. Thanks for tuning in. Stay kind, stay curious. Remember, being informed is being empowered. Thanks for listening.